Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion.
Hey guys, welcome to another Vlogmas video, day 3 of Vlogmas. How exciting. This video is all about recipes for your kids, for your toddlers, for your babies. Hopefully this can help you come up with some inspiration on serving some food to your kids, because I know we all struggle to come up with exciting recipes to feed our kids. I kind of result back to cereal and toast a lot of the days, but here is this video to hopefully give you some inspiration and some ideas on some recipes to try with your kids to see if they love them as much as my kids do. The first recipe that I have to show you guys is banana and blueberry pancakes. These are Talia's and Evie's favorites, so let's get into the recipe. The ingredients you will need is self-raising flour, ground cinnamon, a banana, an egg, and blueberries. Today's banana was exceptionally large, so I decided to use 2 eggs instead of 1. The first thing you're going to do is chop up your banana into pieces that you're going to be able to mash up with the back of a fork. Keep in mind with this recipe, you can also replace the blueberries with things like chocolate chips or pretty much anything that your kid prefers to eat. But my kids really like blueberries, and I like the antioxidant boost that it gives the recipe, so I use blueberries for my pancakes. The next thing you'll do is mash up your bananas with the back of a fork. It can take a while, it can test your patience, but you'll get there at the end of the day. It doesn't need to be perfect. They don't need to be completely mashed up. I like to use a fork instead of a blender so that there's nice chunky bits of banana. Once it's all mashed up, this is what it will look like. And the next thing you need to do is add your eggs. You don't need to beat them first. They mix in just fine when you're using your fork, and mix like so. Once your mixture looks something like this, you can go ahead and add your flour. Now, there are recipes where you just use the egg and the banana. However, I find when I make those pancakes, they always fall apart in the pan and end up being like egg and banana scramble, which is not very appetizing. So I've gone ahead and just added some self-raising flour myself to kind of make the pancakes raise a little bit, and they're a little bit fluffier and they do not fall apart in the pan. I added 3 tablespoons of self-raising flour in the beginning and gave it a mix. Then I realized that it needed a little bit more, so I added 1 more tablespoon. You can just go ahead and use your own judgment based on whether you think the batter is thick enough. It probably would have been fine if I had have just gone and cooked it like that, but just to be safe and to make sure that it wasn't going to fall apart in the pan on me, I went ahead and added 1 more spoonful. Now this is the texture that you're going to want to aim for, something like this, and then you're going to go ahead and add whatever extra bits and bobs you're putting into your pancakes, whether it be blueberries or chocolate chips or strawberry bits or whatever you want to add to your pancakes. You can go ahead and add that now and give it a stir. Now, usually you would add your cinnamon in now, but I totally forgot to do that. I do add it in a minute. Here we go. I remembered I'd already made a pancake at this point, but you do add your cinnamon. I totally forgot. The next thing you'll do is spray your pan with oil and put your batter into the pan and just cook it like a regular pancake. At this point, you just cook it like a regular pancake. So you're going to want to make sure that it's nice and bubbly on top when you flip it for the first time. You're going to want to make sure that it's cooked all the way through, because obviously there's egg in there and you're serving it to your baby. Nice and brown on that side, cook it all the way through, and then once it's all nice and brown on both sides, you can go ahead and just pop it onto a plate. You can use whatever maple syrup you like. I did have sugar-free maple syrup, however, Talia prefers just this regular, sugar-packed maple syrup. So I just went ahead and used that one for her because it's her favorite. You don't have to use maple syrup. You can get away without using it because the banana makes the pancake sweet. But just for a little bit of extra yumminess, I did add maple syrup this day. Then you're just going to go ahead and cut it up to whatever size suits your baby or toddler or kid, or you can just leave it whole if it's for a bigger kid. And then there you go. That is your banana pancake. This batter actually made 2 pancakes, so I made myself breakfast this day. I actually got to eat breakfast. Well, I got to eat half of it before I got interrupted, but I got like half a pancake for breakfast this day, which was great. It is Talia's favorite, like I said. She absolutely loves these pancakes and she always asks for them. But yeah, I got to eat pancakes. I was pretty excited. The next recipe I have to show you guys is blueberry French toast. Yes, I know, blueberries again. I like the antioxidant boost that it gives my kids. So blueberry French toast is another one that I make in this household. And I'm gonna show you how to go ahead and make that now. I do usually serve up my French toast with an extra bit of fruit on the side, just to give them a little bit of variety. The ingredients you'll need for this recipe is bread, ground cinnamon, an egg, blueberries, and milk. You can use whatever milk you want, however, we just use cow milk in today's recipe. The first thing you're going to do is pop your egg into a little bowl and put a splash of milk in there too, and then just give it a little bit of a stir up so that it's nice and combined. In this recipe, you obviously have cinnamon, like in the other one, and I remember to put it in this one. Yay, go me! So you just add your cinnamon in the egg and then give it a bit of a stir so it's nice and combined like so. The next thing you're going to do is take your blueberries and actually cut them in half. This makes it easier to stick them to the bread instead of trying to stick a whole blueberry into the side of bread. I go ahead and add my blueberries to the egg mixture and give it a bit of a stir. Now you can add your blueberries later and it would probably make it easier to soak your bread into the egg mixture. However, I like the fact that the blueberries get covered in the egg, so it makes them a little bit stickier and I feel like it makes them easier to stick onto the side of the bread as well. But you just go ahead and grab your bread and kind of soak it in the egg mixture. Make sure that your bread is completely covered in the egg mixture, and then once all of the parts of the bread are covered in egg, you can go ahead and pop your blueberries on. I like doing it this way because I can symmetrically put them on so that it looks pretty as well. I'm a little bit OCD in that matter. But you can just go ahead and pop your blueberries to the side of the bread and then go ahead and spray your trusty pan with some oil and pop your toast in there, your French toast into the pan. Now you're going to want to make sure that it's nice and brown on both sides. I do actually flip that back over and make sure that all of it is browned, because obviously you want to make sure the egg is completely cooked for your baby. That side is nice and brown, and that is pretty much what you want to aim for when you serve it up. Once it's all nice and browned and cooked through, you can go ahead and remove it from your pan. And once again, cut it up to however your baby prefers to eat it, whether it's small pieces or slices. I've just gone ahead and quartered this piece of French toast for Evie. And like I said earlier, I like to serve it with a little bit of fruit on the side for some variety, and I've just popped some grapes there for her. The next recipe I'm going to show you guys is also one of Evie's favorites, and it's meatballs in tomato sauce. Talia really likes this one as well. Just remember, with this recipe you need to add some carbs and maybe some veggies to the side as well, just to make sure your children are getting all the nutrients with this recipe. Your ingredients are lean mince, about 500 grams of that, balsamic vinegar, parsley, mixed herbs, breadcrumbs, an egg, and garlic. That's for the meatballs. The sauce ingredients will be basil, onion, garlic, crushed or diced tomatoes, black pepper, and tomato paste. We're going to go ahead and just make the meatballs at this point in the video. So what I'm going to do is just add all of the ingredients to a bowl. So firstly, I need to chop up my parsley, just roughly chop that up, and beat my egg just to make them easier to add to your mixture. Like I said, I'm just going to add all of my meatball ingredients to this bowl. So I've got my 500 grams of extra lean mince, and I'm just shredding that up with my hands to make it easier to combine. I'm going to add my egg and crush my garlic cloves in there as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my mixed herbs. I don't have any specific measurements, I kind of just shake it in there a little. And then I'm going to add my parsley as well. Then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar to the mixture and half a cup of breadcrumbs. Now for this part, you're going to want to make sure you have clean hands and also remove any rings because it gets stuck in there. I learned that the hard way. Use your hands to just mix it all up. It's much easier with your hands to make sure that it gets nice and combined, but like I said, make sure your hands are clean. The next thing I'm going to do is roll my mince into balls about the size of golf balls. With this amount of meat that I used, which was 500 grams, I managed to get 13 meatballs, as you can see here. Next thing I'm going to do is actually cover my meatballs with cling wrap. Now you don't actually have to do this step, but I like to cover them with cling wrap and pop them in the fridge for about an hour just to harden them up and kind of make the mixture stick together a little bit better. You don't have to do this, you can just go ahead and pop them in the tomato sauce. However, I like to just put them in the fridge, my very messy, unorganized fridge, for about an hour. Once an hour has passed or you're ready to cook them into your tomato sauce, you're going to make your tomato sauce. So the first thing I'm going to do is chop up my onion into small pieces like so and pop it into a bowl. I'm also going to add my garlic cloves to the onion. So I think I put 2 into the onion there. And then I'm going to go ahead and chop up my basil. So pretty self-explanatory, just chop it up nice and rough. You can also, I think you can just rip them up with your fingers and it does the job as well, but I like to just chop it up just to make sure that every leaf gets nice and chopped up. Then you're going to add your oil to your trusty frying pan that is in all of my recipes and pop your meatballs into the oil there. Make sure it's on a high heat. Now you're just going to turn them over until all sides are browned. They don't have to be completely cooked through yet because we are going to cook them for a little bit more later on. But I am, for now, just going to be flipping them over to try and get rid of most of the pink, as you can see there on the sides of the meatballs. Now that they're all nice and brown, I'm going to use a slotted spoon to take them out of the pan and pop them on the plate. But like I said, don't stress if you see any pink because we are going to put them back in the pan in a second. In that same pan, you're just going to add your onion and garlic and stir it up until it's nice and cooked and soft. Once it's nice and cooked through and soft, the next thing you're going to do is add your tomato paste. Now you need 1 tablespoon of tomato paste and then you're just going to stir that through so that it's nice and combined. Then you can go ahead and add your crushed or chopped tomatoes, whichever you choose. I used crushed in this recipe today. And stir that up again and add your basil. Then you're just going to obviously stir your basil through the sauce so that it's nice and combined. Now you're going to add your meatballs back to the sauce. As promised, they're going to get cooked and make sure they're cooked all the way through. Add them back to the sauce and then just use a spoon to kind of stir it up and make sure that the meatballs are covered in the sauce. Next thing I'm going to do is cover it up with a lid and turn the heat down to a medium high, and I'm going to let that simmer or cook for 15 minutes. Once 15 minutes has gone by, it's going to look something like this. They're all cooked through now. You can cut one open just to make sure that they're cooked through if you wish. Like I said earlier, now all you have to do is add your sides. So you can just pop this with pasta if you want, but I have used sweet potato as the healthy carb for this meal, as well as broccoli for some extra nutrients because it is Talia's favorite, and actually Evie loves broccoli too, which is a bonus. As you can see, I had some leftover meatballs, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop them in containers and cover them in the sauce. Then I can just put them in the freezer, and as the week goes on, I can defrost them or just put them in the microwave and cook them and serve them up so that I'm not having to cook every single night. The next recipe I have to show you guys is tomato pasta. This one is my favorite to make, and it's actually Evie's favorite to eat, and Talia loves it too. It's full of nutrients, it's got lots of veggies in there, it's very versatile. I really enjoy cooking this one. It's so easy to cook a big batch and chuck it in the freezer for a later date. Here is your ingredients. You'll need olive oil, basil, chopped or diced or crushed tomatoes, tomato paste, bay leaves, celery, garlic, carrot, and onion. The first thing I'm going to do is chop up my onion, very similar to how I chopped it up in the previous recipe, just chop it up into tiny little pieces. The next thing I'm going to do is peel and grate a carrot. I don't usually peel it for this recipe, but this carrot happened to have random stringy things on it, so I did peel it for this recipe. I'm just going to grate it into the same bowl that I put the onion in. I'm going to put all of the vegetables into this same bowl. So now I'm going to just prep the celery. I'm going to cut it up. Prep is my least favorite part of cooking. Like, I hate prepping, but it has to be done, obviously, so here we go. I'm just chopping up the celery into long stems and then chopping it up into small pieces so that it's less of a choking hazard and kind of just hide it into the recipe as well, so that picky eaters can't go ahead and pick around it, because picky eaters do exist. We all have one. Now I'm going to crush my garlic cloves into a separate bowl to the vegetables. Just into this little bowl here, I used 3. And then, as you can see here, I've got my bowl of vegetables, carrot, celery, and onion, and I've got my garlic there, and also a bowl of basil, which I didn't film myself chopping up, but you know, it's pretty self-explanatory. Here's some olive oil. I'm going to just add that to my trusty pan. My poor pan just gets used every single day. I'm going to add all of my veggies to that pan, so my onion, my carrot, and my celery, and I'm just going to stir it around until it's nice and cooked and all of the vegetables have softened. As you can see here. Now I'm going to add my garlic and do the same thing, just stir it so it's nice and combined, mix that garlic in nice and well, and cook for about 2 extra minutes. Now I'm going to add my chopped tomatoes. I had 2 cans for this recipe, so I've put 2 cans of chopped tomatoes in. Now you're just going to go ahead and stir that so it's nice and combined, and once it is nice and combined, you can go ahead and add 4 tablespoons of tomato paste. Am I the only one that eats tomato paste off the spoon? I lick the spoon when I'm finished with it. I love the taste of it. Then you just go ahead and stir the tomato paste so that it's nice and combined. The next thing you're going to do is add your basil. It took me like 10 years to get those little basil leaves out of that damn bowl, but I eventually got there. And we're going to stir it in so that it's nice and combined as well. You can add your black pepper now. I just do a couple of twists, just for a little bit of extra flavor, and then you're going to pop your bay leaf in there as well. I always pick the biggest bay leaf out of there for some reason, and then I'm just going to go ahead and cover it so that the bay leaf can get all of the flavor out into the sauce. I'm going to pop it onto a medium heat and let that cook for about 20 minutes. While that's cooking, you can go ahead and make your pasta or cook your pasta. So you know how to make pasta, follow the packet instructions, you go ahead and just pop it in there into some boiling water. I like to make my pasta fresh every single night with this recipe, so I just freeze the tomato pasta sauce separate and then defrost it or pop it in the microwave, and then I'll make fresh pasta every single night and just put the pasta sauce on top of my fresh pasta. But if you wanted to go ahead and just make a whole big batch with pasta and freeze it all together, you totally could do that. Now all you have to do is just serve it up. Don't forget to remove your bay leaf. It's an important step that sometimes gets missed. In my house anyway. Give it a nice stir, and then you can just go ahead and serve it up. It's all done now. Like I said, this is Evie's favorite recipe. She absolutely loves it. It gets really messy. Use a drop sheet if you have one, if you've got a baby that throws food on the ground. It's also one of Talia's favorites. She loves it as well. She always asks for it when Evie's eating it. So I'm just going to go ahead and you can either mix it up or leave it on top with the tomato pasta sauce on top of the pasta, or you can mix it up. I like to mix it up just to make sure that all of the veggies get mixed into the pasta so that picky eaters can't pick around it. And once again, I had extra, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop the pasta sauce by itself into these little containers, put them in the freezer, and that way I can just defrost them and cook them throughout the week, and I don't have to cook every single night. And as you can see, I got 7 meals out of that, which is amazing. Evie's favorite, she loves it. And that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope it gave you some inspiration and ideas on some meals that you can serve to your little ones. I know that I usually revert back to the good old cereal or just plain toast for breakfast, so I hope that this gave you some inspiration. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe below if you would like to follow our journey, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Please let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this for cooking inspiration. I will see you guys in the next Vlogmas video. Bye!